WGIII, Dr. Rahman Peace, Yuba Sukona, and Ottmar Edenhofer. And since we are a little bit pressed for time, I would like to start the press conference early and hand over to the floor. If you have any questions, please let us know who you are, and I'd be happy to delegate your questions.
Okay. Is there any question, any information you would like to have regarding the why this meeting here in Addis and what it's about? And this is, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is producing a report. This is the fifth assessment report. And the fifth assessment report, there are 3 working groups. The working group 1 is dealing with the science of climate change. The working group 2 is dealing with impact and adaptation. And then the working group 3, this is the working group, is dealing with mitigation. And then our report will be presented next year. And then we have to finish all the business by October this year. And then we had a first meeting, the first of such meeting in Korea. And then the second meeting was in New Zealand. And then the third meeting was in Spain, and this is the last meeting. And then we have produced the first draft of our report that has been commented, discussed, and then from the commented discussion we got the second draft. And then from the second draft that has been circulated and it was available for anyone for comment, we received 20,000 comments coming from 500 different individuals. And then we are here to integrate and to discuss and to see how to respond to all those comments and then to finalize the report. And the report will be finalized by October. This report is dealing with climate mitigation because the IPCC fourth assessment report has been delivered in 2007. And then from 2007 to now, we have to assess all the technical, scientific, and socioeconomic literature on the issues, on problem, on the progress that has been made on climate issues. And then our focus is on mitigation. There is 2 other working groups. I said that the one is dealing with climate science. The second is dealing with vulnerability and adaptation. Don't know, Ottmar and Ramon, if you have any clarification or any other aspect to add on.
Yeah, well, I would like to add that this is the 5th occasion in which the IPCC published or prepared an assessment report on climate change. And the last one, the 4th assessment report, was approved and published in the year 2007. And now the intention with this 5th edition, 5th assessment report, is to take into account particularly that literature, specialized literature, technical, scientific, and socioeconomic literature that is related to climate change mitigation in the case of Working Group 3 of the IPCC, particularly taking into account this period after the year 2007. And in that sense, this is the one of the main intentions with this report is to assess this kind of literature, taking into account the priorities, the interests, and those topics which are relevant for policy makers. The IPCC, according to its mandates, is an institution created in the year 1988 by the World Meteorological Organization and the United Nations Program for Environment. And as part of its mandates, it produced scientific research results that should be scientifically relevant for policymakers, but without being policy prescriptive. This is one of the conditions of this report, offering a kind of menu of options, a set of options for policymakers, assess those options in terms of policy making process, but without making recommendations, without being prescriptive in the sense of making specific suggestions on how to proceed specifically in each of the cases. And in this particular working group 3, 16 chapter teams have been organized to conduct the whole assessment that, as Yuba mentioned, started around the year 2010, and it has been conducted with the intention to have the report approved and published next year. And with also this important is highly expected, I mean, at the international level, taking into account that the IPCC report are an important reference for the political multilateral negotiation in the context of climate change. The IPCC, this results as a kind of academic, scientific reference for the policy-making process at the multilateral level, if we take into account the political negotiations that are taking place under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Is there anything that makes this report differ from what has been read so far? This is one question, and the second one is, in case if there are any special room that has been given to the developing countries, so would you mind to specific them, please? Thank you.
Now, as I indicated earlier, I said that the fourth assessment report of IPCC has been produced in 2007. From 2007 to 2010, we have to assess all the scientific, technical, socioeconomic literature on the climate change issues, including we are focusing on mitigation. And what are the problems, what are the issues, and then what new knowledge we gain since the last report, what are the problems we are facing, and then on the climate mitigation. And then on the climate mitigation issues, we have to explore, to look at all the various perspectives, including those of the least developed country, industrialized country. It is not related to one specific part of the world. And then we have to look at all the options, all the situations, all the perspectives. It's comprehensive. As you can see it in the room, you have a diversity of authors. They are coming from different parts of the world, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from America, from Latin America, from the LDC country, from the industrialized country. And then we assess all the new knowledge, all the existing literature on peer review that has been produced in the peer review literature, in some cases on non-peer review literature under certain conditions. For instance, we have in our report, we have 16 different chapters. Chapter 1 is an introduction chapter, and then we have 3 framing chapters. The framing chapter 2 is dealing with uncertainties of risks, because all the decision and then the policymakers and then the general public, and then we are taking decision on under uncertainties, such as climate. And then the chapter 2 is dealing with one important aspect on, in addition to economic and social aspect, the ethical dimension. And then the chapter 3 or 4 is dealing with the issue of equity, sustainable development. And then we have also different sectoral chapter on energy, on transport, on industry, on human settlement, including urban area, rural area, peri-urban area. We're dealing with agricultural sector. We are dealing also with policies at different level, at international level, at regional level, national level, subnational level, local level.
How much it is worth for your report
with the influencing the policy of among the world negotiating countries. For example, we have seen about the COP15 and the Copenhagen, at the same time Mexico and Rio 15, and including the Durban one. So how much it is influencing your report among the negotiating and alternative solutions for to come to the concurrent points?
We are not influencing anyone. We are producing a robust scientific, technical, and socio-economic information that exists. And then we said that we are policy relevant, we are not policy prescriptive. And then the outline of our report has been approved by the government. And then they give to us a mandate. Our mandate is purely scientific mandate. And then we assess what the literature said on a number of issues. And then it's a government based off the conclusion of our report to take a number of decisions. And as I said that, we are responding to the issue of climate mitigation. And then we can take different level of mitigations. What will be the implications in terms of cost, in terms of institutional, in terms of other? We are not making any judgment. It's up to the government to take our conclusion, that is in nature scientific, technical, and socio-economic, and then to take a number of decisions based on that. We are not influencing anyone. We are not at all policy prescriptive, and we avoid also to use any policy prescriptive language. We are neutral, we are transparent, and our assessment is robust. Because we are responding to the request of the government. It's the government who we had different meetings, and then there is a panel, intergovernmental panel, that representing all the governments of the world. And they are the one who decided, who approved what we should discuss what we should look in our report. And then the outline of the report has been approved by the government. And then they are the one also who will approve the report. But they will not at all interfere in the way the report will be conducted. All the authors here, including my two colleagues, we are not representing to the mandate of any government. And then we are not representing any government. We are only representing the scientific community, is the people you have seen in the room. And then they are not there representing their government. They are there because of their individual capacity on specific issues and their knowledge on specific issues.
We're a little short for time, so I would take one more question. Yes, please.
I know that you don't support any government, but you have to support the truth. For instance, in regional integration, we have to promote renewable energy sources. For instance, if you have to support the truth, one way or another, you will support a government. There are some governments who want to tap their hydropower potential, but there are some countries that do not like this. One way or another, you have to support it. Another question is, most of the time, your reports or your papers are an academic or scientific one, and you have to make it down to earth, lucid to the majority. What do you say about this? And there are different interests across the world. You have to balance that as well. Brief me on this. I want to be something clear on this.
No, we produce a special report on renewable energy, and then the status of renewable energy on climate mitigation. And in this same room here, and then we had an outreach of this report with different African stakeholders, and that is to bring all the knowledge in the perspective of the region. And then our report is not directing to this renewable, this technology is important, this one is not important, and then to push for hydro or to push for wind or to push for solar. Our report is completely neutral. We just give the status of the knowledge regarding different technologies, and then the cost implications, and then the development of the various technology, and based also on the knowledge in the ground on the different perspective, which is not, we are not advocating at all. And we are only presenting the status of the knowledge and the development of the different technology and the role of the technology in the climate mitigation. And then from the big report, we produce a synthesis for policymakers. And this is, and using a simple language that accessible to the policymakers. And in addition to that, we organize frequently an outreach that could be on the press, such as like you. And then we did it last time when we had this outreach here on the special report on the renewables. We had some conversation with the press. And then based on that. And then we had also different conversation with different stakeholders, including high-level policymakers, including practitioners, including decision makers at different level, and to get them, to make them accessible, the report accessible to them. And then the bigger report is thousands of pages. It's very difficult for many to have access to this complicated, but we make it very simple using the simple language for that.
Okay, unfortunately, the co-chairs will have to leave for the next meeting. I will be staying around a little bit to provide some background information if you need any, and we would like to thank you for being here and your questions.